Richard DeDomenici is one of those artists who's been featured in the media because his works make you think, laugh, and question the world around you. Richard, the stage is yours.
Thanks. This is the photograph from which that image was taken, and I've already used the Myriad software that we saw earlier on to do this. Look at that. That's good, isn't it? I'm very excited about the future. Thank you, Myriad software. I'm just going to check the sounds before we begin. Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Dennis. Okay, hello. I am the award-losing Richard DeDomenici. Those are some of the things I've lost in my career. I'm going to take a picture of all of you, so smile. It's all right, I can add some extra people in post. Ready? 3, 2, 1. That's nice. That's going to be my new Tinder profile picture. Right. London has the most overpriced housing in the world, ladies and gentlemen, much of which is, the new stuff anyway, remains empty for investment purposes. The city is turning into a shadow of its former self. It is possible for an artist to live cheaply in London, though, and that's by living on the hinterland between London and the M25. That's where I reside up there. And also knowing what time to buy food cheap. Here's my weekly shop. And since the 5p bag tax, I've become an expert food balancer. It's an exciting new sport. I'm only here today, actually, because I heard there might be canapes. Is that not the case? To try and stem the depressing flow of the best artists moving to places like Manchester and Glasgow and other cheaper European cities, I've had some ideas about how to stabilise house prices in the southeast of England. One solution is to relocate the UK's government to Cumbernauld in Scotland. In doing so, freeing up huge swathes of central London for conversion into affordable housing for key workers, nurses, teachers, performance artists. Locksmiths, they should get key worker status, shouldn't they? That's my best joke. Moving Westminster to Scotland would also help redistribute growth, balance the north-south divides, and deliver almost all of the benefits of Scottish independence with far less pain. People often ask me, Richard, what motivates you as an experimental performance artist? And I normally say something like, I want to create the kind of uncertainty that leads to possibility, a state that's rather well expressed on this lady's face in Edinburgh. There. See that? Only momentarily. And also this gentleman's face in Liverpool. And this red-headed gentleman in London. He was very confused. In fact, this project caused so much uncertainty that the police confiscated my torch. In this project, I wandered around Chicago with a plastic bag on my head and my hands tethered behind my back with a nylon cable tie, the US military's then method of choice for detaining enemy combatants. 48 hours later, the Abu Ghraib prisoner abuse scandal broke, and within a fortnight, US forces had outlawed the use of hooding in Iraq, and I cite this as evidence of the shamanistic properties of my artistic practice.
I'm sure he is. He got a plastic bag over his head.
To expand on this premise, I theorize that artists possess a kind of instinctive foresight that can manifest itself through performance before it can be expressed in words.
Why are you doing that?
I've been invited from the UK to come and make a performance.
And this is what you do?
This is one of the things I do. How did it look?
Well, you got people calling all over the world about you.
Thus, they are able to predict the future, but only in ways that are quite difficult to interpret until after the case. To quote Art Spiegelman, it's hard to be an artist who's consistently seconds ahead of his time.
That's what we want to hear.
In 2002, I spent 43 hours going round and round on the Circle Line. You can't do that anymore, anti-clockwise. In Superman the movie, after Lois Lane is killed in an earthquake, Superman flies around the planet Earth repeatedly, thereby reversing the Earth's rotation, turning back time and bringing Lois back to life. And by this rationale, I hope that by circumnavigating central London, I'd return the capital to a more happier time, characterised by fewer generic coffee outlets and more Route Master buses. Incidentally, Starbucks closed 600 stores in 2008, and new Route Master buses were brought back to London in 2012. Albeit not my design, They said it was too dangerous. My point is, the psychological impact of this kind of work may not be felt for years to come, ladies and gentlemen, but the cumulative effects of lots of small anomalies can be huge. So that's why I do what I do. You may have noticed that torch performance there. The previous image was from, footage was from when the Beijing torch visited London in 2008, and my performance involved running about a minute ahead of the actual torch with a fake torch to cause the kind of uncertainty that leads to possibility amongst organisers, spectators, protesters, and the police. And it went quite well in 2008, so for London 2012 I decided to repeat this performance, albeit on a far more ambitious scale. I went all around the country: Newcastle, Manchester, Norwich, Colchester, Brighton, London. Here's some footage from the finale. I'm trying to high-five people, but it's hard because I'm running really quickly because I'm being chased down Regent Street by a van full of police. They'd had enough. They pursued me on foot. This is all crowdsourced footage, apart from this. They didn't tell me what police station. I could collect it from later. They took away my torch, but they did not take away my liberty. And I hope to take that performance to Rio this summer, where the police have guns, so wish me luck. I've got a long history of impersonation. Here's my radical feminist tribute to 1981 Eurovision winners Bucks Fizz. They're called Fox Biz and are available for international touring. I spent the past 2 years travelling the world with the Redux project, which started by mistake 2 years ago when my low-budget recreation of scenes from a Bangkok rom-com got better results, better reviews than the original film. I tried another Redux in Glasgow, and the same thing happened. Since then, I've made more than 40 Reduxes around the world, with the ultimate intention of destabilising the Hollywood hegemony by making cheap versions of derivative blockbusters. Here's Jurassic Park, not in the original location. Most of them are the original location. This one's not in the original location either, actually. But it's a shopping centre, and they let us drive a car through it, and that was close enough. The Duchess. Filmed this in 2 cities, actually.
Duchess of Devonshire.
Somebody did indeed ask me what kind of feather it is that I'm wearing. One of them has clearly ended up on top of my head. And the other, rumour has it, is running for office in the Tory party.
So they've been getting more and more ambitious. This is The Matrix in Sydney.
And that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it. Look again.
This is the audacious moment that we froze time just by making people stand still. Apart from that person there, they didn't realise what we were doing. Her in Shanghai. This was set in a futuristic LA, but shot in Shanghai.
So, I'm available.
And probably the most complicated one, Avengers Age of Ultron, which required lots of difficult special effects work.
Picking up after you, boys.
So that's the Redux project. Most recently, we get more and more ambitious to the extent that the last 10 Reduxes were part of the BBC event, live from Television Centre. It was on BBC 4 in November, and is available to purchase from the BBC store, ladies and gentlemen. And the piece involved 4 bits of experimental theatre by me, Gecko, Commonwealth, and Tourette's Hero, and they were all broadcast from the former Television Centre in Wood Lane live on a Sunday evening. In direct competition with I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Rather than being absorbed into the mainstream, though, I like to think that I'm subverting the institution I'll let you be the judge. Here's a clip.
Hello, and welcome to the ruins of BBC Television Centre in Wood Lane, London. Tonight, I'll be occupying the greatest culture factory the world has ever seen, with the aim of recreating some beloved moments of live televisual entertainment from TV Centre's illustrious past. Run VT!
Ducks. When the crowd say ball. Director.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Redux Project. You can tweet us at hashtag the Redux Project. We're live from TV Centre. Selma, come and show them today's papers so that we know that we're live. Like the artist studio that I've just been evicted from, Television Centre is currently being transformed into luxury properties. It's the artist's fault though, isn't it? They move into dilapidated areas, start using spaces creatively, and soon commercial interests are attracted to this perceived edginess. Rents go up, artists have to move out, and before you know it, you're surrounded by exotic-sounding three-syllable restaurant franchises. I'm trying to counter this problem by releasing a record this Christmas to raise awareness of the plight of British performance artists. Please help. And also with an aggressive programme of creative degentrification. This may look like an unassuming street utility cabinet, the kind we pass unnoticed hundreds of times a day, but it's actually a discreet, portable, lightweight, flat-pack micro studio, capable of use as a rent-free, live-stroke workspace for artists, anarchists, the homeless, and Syrian refugees.
And I've already distributed hundreds of these around London. Do let me know if you want one.
The latest models have an integrated solar panel to power small electrical devices such as lamps, laptops, or travel hairdryers. So next time you pass a street cabinet, do knock on the door and pop in for a cup of tea. It's crazy, London, at the minute. I've got a friend who pays £400 a month for the privilege of living under constant threat of eviction in a former morgue in South London. And I went there, it's very cold and it smells, and the sleeping arrangements are even more dense than a Japanese capsule hotel. I know a dancer who dances for the Royal Opera House, and she's homeless, and she's been sleeping on people's floors for the past 2 years because she can't afford to rent anything in London. And I know a nurse who commutes by plane from the Czech Republic because it's cheaper than living in London. When such talented people can't afford housing in London, it raises this important question. Will these anti-homeless spikes really be sufficient to deter a rough-sleeping magician? Yeah. London is in danger of becoming cash-rich but culturally poor. It's a false economy. So if government isn't going to make it easier for artists to inhabit empty buildings for free, as happens in other countries, then perhaps a more grassroots strategy is required. Introducing my latest in a series of attempts to degentrify London, Micro House, privatising public space, albeit in a grassroots way. It's basically the same as the street cabinet, but bigger. Because if you can't beat them, join them. Despite having the most overpriced housing in the world, pockets of land considered too small for conventional development remain conspicuous by their lack of use in London. Inspired by Japanese pet architecture, small and unusual buildings inserted into gaps in the existing built environment, I propose to add discrete prefabricated parasitic structures to the streets of London. They would be more discreet than that, but they wouldn't be purple. I'm collaborating with 2 Scottish architects, and the project will be a test bed for innovative, high-quality, low-cost construction methods and energy-efficient architecture power solutions, maximising land use efficiency whilst at the same time invigorating neighbourhoods bereft of innovative cultural and architectural activity. Micro House would be installed overnight and camouflaged to resemble the local environment and go completely unnoticed. And it will operate off the grid, but will have provision for tethering to existing utilities. The project is very difficult to fund by traditional means due to the threat it poses to accepted forms of land ownership and its potential to destabilise the property market. But do look out for that. That's going to be happening this year. Hopefully it will be a game changer. Look out for it. You won't find it. Here's a quick video about my project, The Death of Social Housing. Join us at The Death of Social Housing. Look at these people that are building small cardboard models of the Balfron Tower in East London, a tower block that's currently being decanted of its social residents. Decanted is an official term used by the councils when they kick people out. Guy, how many minutes have I got left? I went on late. -2. Stationery and tables.
Oh,
Skip this.
you're done. This is lovely. Have you put your
That's
names
on
on
the
them?
internet if you want to look at that. Here's a quick version of that performance that happened at the Barbican last year. There was a workshop to make little cardboard models. Then we had a full-scale funeral procession from Mare Street, there's the Mares, to the Barbican. And the coffin was designed to resemble a block of social housing, which was carried in by pallbearers, where there was a eulogy, music and wine. And then we went outside and floated some little boats into the lake in a kind of nod to Viking sea burial. One of them sunk. London Square Mile is increasingly resembling a game of Tetris, a particularly phallocentric one. The gherkin, the shard, the cheese grater, the walkie-talkie, and the as yet unbuilt undershaft. Have you heard of that? That's the newest title of a skyscraper in London, the undershaft. As such, I'm currently developing a satirical range of 3D printed London skyscraper sex toys, which will be available later on in the year. Forthcoming projects involve a world tour of the Redux project kicking off in Milton Keynes. Do check that out, Superman for the Quest for Peace this summer. I'm also looking to open a gentrified soup kitchen that only serves gazpacho to those that self-identify as homeless. Live Art Aid is out now. There's the back cover, available to buy on 12-inch vinyl. Hands up if you've got a record player. You hipsters. And as a digital download from liveartaid.org, please help. And The Death of Social Housing will be coming to Camden People's Theatre on the 23rd of January as part of their Whose London Is It Anyway festival. You're all invited. Thank you very much. I've been Richard DeDomenici. Good night.